Coming up on The Disturbance, thankfully, North America, the National Football League preseason is officially behind us. I mean, how much weight can you put on a Las Vegas Raider at San Francisco 49er game when the Raiders only traveled with 52 players and left over 30 of them back in Las Vegas? Still, did you see what Kyle Shanahan did when he platooned both Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance at quarterback? We are going to discuss that. Plus, I will give you my thoughts on this rumor that has Deshaun Watson going to the Miami Dolphins. As ridiculous as it sounds, a very interesting rumor. Just think Honda versus Porsche. I've got all of that, and trust me, a whole lot more coming up on the big show today.
Live and on tape from the heart of Silicon Valley, this is The Disturbance, hosted by Dave Daba. Now to the host, who can't stop ripping on players, coaches, and unbelievably bad front office management, Dave Daba.
It is Tuesday, August 31st of the year 2021. I'm Dave Daba, and thanks so much for tuning into The Disturbance today. We're going to get into the Deshaun Watson story in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to start with these National Football League preseason games, which thankfully are officially over. Now, as I mentioned in the opening, the Raiders came to San Francisco and played the 49ers in Santa Clara, which is actually just about 10 feet away from San Jose. So the Las Vegas Raiders played the San Jose 49ers. And in that game, John Gruden left his starters basically all back in Las Vegas. I am just saying you need to remember that when we talk about what Kyle Shanahan went ahead and did against what can best be described as a lukewarm Las Vegas Raider defense. Let's just say this was an early bird special. This was a buffet style defense, you know, the kind of buffet that you get in Vegas that's really just $4.99. The expensive buffet was not on display at all in this preseason game, which has been my big issue with this preseason to begin with. I just want to take a slight tangent and head in a different direction here just for a second. The idea of these preseason games is to get your players ready. The idea that the NFL has of these preseason games is to make more money. And those two things don't go hand in hand. Just look at how successful college football is without any preseason games. Look, I'd much rather see the National Football League go to a 20-game schedule and kill all of these meaningless preseason games already. Expand the roster to 70. It would just be far better for all of us to watch than having to suffer through these 3 preseason games. And if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, you got 4 this year. So I'm just saying, that being said, Kyle Shanahan at one point early in the game decided to go to a platoon style offense where Jimmy Garoppolo played a couple plays, and then out came Jimmy, and in came Trey. Trey played in the play. Out went Trey. In came Jimmy. You get the idea. This is something that we haven't seen in the National Football League in some 30 years, I believe, maybe even longer than that, since it's really been done in any real way in the National Football League. And you've got to give it to Kyle Shanahan, who knows that his first 2 games are against new coaching staffs. He's got the Detroit Lions, which I'm sure he's staying up late at night fearful of. And because everybody fears Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, don't they? Anyways, so you've got the Detroit Lions, and then you've got the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a whole new coaching staff and a new coaching regime as well. And both of those teams, let's face it, are 5-win teams on paper, maybe less if we really get into a deep analysis of why the Detroit Lions thought it was good. It was a good idea to get rid of all of their star players and then bring in a super young coaching staff. That's a conversation for another day. So Kyle Shanahan gives these wrinkles, and they did it for about a quarter. And it was really interesting to watch, and it was fascinating to watch. Jimmy would get into some sort of rhythm, and then he'd pull him out, and then Trey Lance would go in. And it was just very interesting to watch. Now, I don't think we're going to see a lot of this during the regular season. I think Trey Lance is going to have his package that they're going to run. I remind you that the San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo as a starting quarterback have been extraordinarily successful. The issue with Jimmy Garoppolo is not his performance on the field. The issue is his ability to stay on the field and not get injured. So now the 49ers went out and they spent all this money and all this draft equity to bring in Trey Lance. And people all over the country are like, go ahead and start Trey Lance and go ahead and trade Jimmy Garoppolo by week 3. That's the stupidest thing I've heard at this point. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to win 3 out of 4 games for you alone. If you can take the strengths of Trey Lance and integrate those into what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing, and assuming Jimmy Garoppolo is having a typical Jimmy Garoppolo year, where he's having a very successful year winning games, because winning games is what matters in the National Football League. I'm just saying, I think the very idea of trading Jimmy Garoppolo, that ship has sailed. And one of the reasons that ship has sailed is as strong and as young and as many of the glimpses of greatness that we've seen come out of Trey Lance, we haven't seen the same level of confidence that we saw in Chicago during the preseason with Justin Fields. Trey Lance has a ways to go. I don't know if it's going to be in week 7 or week 8, or if it's going to be in week 14, or if it's going to just be next year. I think what the San Francisco 49ers are setting sail to do, the San Jose 49ers are setting sail to do, is to play Jimmy for as long as Jimmy deserves to play, and then slowly work certain packages into the game. I'm willing to bet that we won't see this wrinkle that we saw in the preseason in the first 2 games, but you might see it later in the year, which is the brilliance of Kyle Shanahan, because it's on tape now. And everybody in the National Football League that's going to play the 49ers this year, as long as all those players are healthy, is going to have to some degree, game plan for what Kyle Shanahan showed us in preseason. And that is the most brilliant thing I saw all of preseason. I'm just saying. Okay. So lastly, today, I wanted to talk just briefly about Deshaun Watson and the rumor of Deshaun Watson getting traded. And the latest rumor is that Deshaun Watson is going to get traded to the Miami Dolphins. Last time I checked, the Miami Dolphins have Tua at quarterback. And you have to be wondering if this rumor is true or not true. Based on what I've heard at this time that we recorded this, I would say a lot of these rumors are true. Now, I'm not sure what the Dolphins will have to give up if they decide to pull the trigger on this. Rumors have been that the Houston Texans are looking for 3 first-round draft picks. I remind you, Deshaun Watson has 20 allegations against him. This is not the time that for a team to really risk giving up 3 draft picks on a player that might not be able to play. There is a significant amount of risk that the Miami Dolphins would have to take if they decided to make this move. Now, I've heard some people talk about how strong Brian Flores is as a head coach, and I completely agree. Just look at how quickly the turnaround was in Miami. It's also one of the reasons I'm very interested to see what happens with Dan Campbell in Detroit. Dan Campbell looks like the kind of coach that's actually going to be able to get a lot out of a little and turn that little into something bigger than just a little, which is exactly what Brian Flores has done in Miami in such a short period of time. It's such a short period of time that they've gone from where they were to the point now where people are starting to use the S word. They're starting to talk about Super Bowl and the Miami Dolphins. And so for the Dolphins to disrupt all of this stuff organizationally, they must believe that Tua is really just a Honda and that Deshaun Watson, I don't know if Porsche is the right term here. Maybe Deshaun Watson's an Audi, but he's not a Honda. The point is, he's a significant step up, and he's the kind of quarterback that could indeed lead this Miami Dolphins team to a Super Bowl just based on what he's done on the field. So the question is, should the Dolphins use this risk reward? By the way, nothing wrong with Hondas. I want to say that, as we own both Porsches and Hondas in this household. But I will say that Tua, nothing wrong. I mean, a Honda can make it to the playoffs too. It's just that we don't think in Miami, and this is the message that Miami is sending. They're basically saying we don't think Tua can go all the way right now to a Super Bowl, and we think we have enough pieces in place, which is the only reason you would take such a big risk on a guy that has so many allegations against him. And it's 20. I mean, it's 20. It's not 2. It's 20. So that is that's where I think we're at. And I think the Dolphins are really considering this. I think they are really, really considering taking a run at Deshaun Watson. Anyways, love to hear what you think about the difference between Tua and Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. Look, I'm a big Tua guy. I want to see Tua, now that he's healthy, actually have a full season and see what he can do. But I think the Dolphins coaching staff, who's with him every day, already knows. And I think they know that Deshaun Watson is definitely a couple car grades above a Honda at this point. All right, North America, thanks so much for tuning in to the Disturbance today. Do check out our big sports website at mighty.rip when you have a chance. Also, the Disturbance has its very own URL now at disturbance.live. For the Disturbance, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sport viewing week.
The Disturbance is a production of the Mighty Rip Podcast Network. For more witty, 100% independent sports coverage, check out our big website at mighty.rip. Okay, go ahead and kill the music now.